Hello everyone. So I will update you on how this PhD project on the consumer behavior towards organic food is going. The project is supervised by Professor Aaron Okas and by Associate Professor Tom Ross. Right. So the project consists of 3 papers. Each of them is trying to understand what is happening on the organic food market. And the first asks a question about what attitudes do consumers have towards organic food? What are the reasons consumers prefer organic food in comparison to conventional food? The second paper looks at how the different market players define the term organic, what does it mean to them? And the third paper looks at how do the pricing, packaging, and message on packaging affect purchase of organic food? So that's in a nutshell, and I will explain each of them in more details. The first paper is called a meta-analytic study of the factors driving the purchase of organic food. And this paper analyzes the publications for the last 25 years of the research, and it aggregates together 235 studies. So in total there is over 124,000 of participants who are giving us their responses to the 2 statements. One is comparison to conventional food, whether consumers consider organic food being healthier, safer, friendly to the environment in comparison to conventional food. And the other set of statements refers to their purchase behaviors, whether they intend to purchase organic food in the next 2 weeks or they are already purchasing organics on a regular basis. And there are 2 types of responses. One kind of response gives a positive yes answer to the statement that organic food is healthier than conventional. And that's how we see the proportion of population that considers organic food having certain attributes. And the second type of responses is whether they strongly agree or disagree with the statement, and that gives us a scale to understand where organic sits in consumer understanding. So that gave us two types of data, gave us 2 types of results, and that's the first result on the proportion of population. So on the graph you can see that 66% of population have positively answered to the question that organic is healthier, safer, quality, and they are ranked over here on a scale. Interesting detail here, I will talk about the results in a second, but interesting detail here is that 55% of consumers or participants of the study have mentioned that they intend to purchase organic food in the next 2 weeks, and nearly half, 45%, have mentioned that they already purchase organic food and it's part of their diet. Another set of results, as you remember, were based on a scale 1 to 7 of agreement. How does organic food compare to conventional? And the responses are slightly different. Animal nutrition, animal welfare, and environmental concern are important for consumers, and they prefer to purchase organic food because of these reasons. That's the ranking that it gives us, and you can see that there is not much difference between these attributes. That's why we decided to look at those attributes, separate them in 3 categories. And when we've noticed that there is an association between potential consumers and regular consumers. So potential consumers, those who say of their intention to purchase organic food in the next 2 weeks, for them organic food represents better quality, better freshness, higher price, lower availability and appearance in comparison to conventional food. As for consumers who regularly purchase organic food, for them organic means health benefit. It's a healthy choice. It is safer to consume, lower in pesticides. It has higher nutrition value. It has environmental benefits. it treats animals better, and general production practices are considered to be better of organic produce. So we see these results as a potential impact on communication strategies. If retailers choose to communicate to consumers who already purchase organic food on a regular basis, then these might be the attributes of food to be mentioned to regular purchases. And if the intention is to grow the market and involve more people, expand the target market, then perhaps talk about the quality, freshness, and address issues of price and availability. They are separated into split into three categories because of the study. Well, we refer to the study of economists I think the publication was 1973 by Darby and Carney, who look at the reasons the way consumers look at the produce. They split into three attributes, whether a product has an attribute of credence, search, or experience. When consumers have tried the product, they know the taste and freshness of the produce, and that's the experience with the product. Consumers search at the place of sale for looking at the quality, looking at the freshness, judging by these attributes. And credence attributes are peculiar ones. These are the perceptions that consumers have about organic food. There is no way for consumers to identify whether the product is organic or not unless a label says so, unless at the point of sale they are told this is organic product. So they have these preconceptions about what organic food is. And that's it for the study. The results of the study have been presented at the conference in New Zealand last December, so it gave exposure to the training center. Let me quickly tell you about the second paper. It is tentatively called for now, "What does the term organic mean to different market stakeholders?" And it was an analysis of definition and of the term itself. So it roughly came up with sets of different maps where each concept is related to each other, how far it is located, how big it is. And we've observed that uniquely to consumers, there are concepts of organic food being natural and non-GMO. That's the word that comes up most frequently. How academics define, how they talk about organic food, they talk about whether it is labeled, whether it's certified, and they explain how market operates. The way certifiers, policymakers talk about organic food, their unique perspective that does not reflect in any other perspectives is talking about soil management, soil quality, and waste disposal. So these are the unique points, but we've combined them all together, and in this flower in the middle you can see the overlap between different perspectives. So all of the market players agree on certain things, that organic means production, non-pesticides, comparison to conventional, that's a big part of knowing that it is organic, whether it is certified, and in general the processes of production and handling of the food. There are overlaps, partial overlaps between these three perspectives. You can see that there are overlaps with green bean policymakers and red bean scholars in terms of environment, health, and how the market is defined. Interestingly, we've observed that there is no whatsoever overlap between consumer understanding and policymakers' definition of organic food. So we think that's room for improvement in terms of communication. Sorry about that. And that's how we think the paper makes an implication of improving the communications between the different market stakeholders to talk about the same concept of organic food and understand each other. The third paper, it's going to be an experiment where we would ask consumers, they would read the following statement. Imagine a scenario that you are grocery shopping and you want to buy a kilo of tomatoes. As Scott has mentioned, tomatoes are one of the most popular vegetables among consumers. So while looking at the produce display, you're presented with three options: whether these are organic tomatoes, whether they are not labeled tomatoes in any way, and perhaps there would be a label pesticide-free. So which tomatoes you will buy. And we will collect some socio-demographics data. We will have a look at price and label. How does the pricing of produce, the package of produce, as well as communication, the message on the label, affect purchase decision? And so far that's an estimation. And we see that this project altogether will help potentially benefit the industry with communication strategies and practices, whether it is with their regular potential customers, whether it is message and labeling at the point of sale, whether it is type of packaging for organic produce, as well as communicating with other stakeholders. Thank you very much for your time.